Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at this 2023 Lexus ES 350 F Sport H. Huge shout out to Hendrick Lexus Northlake for providing this sedan for me today. Check out their website, that link is down in the description. So this ES is finished off in ultrasonic blue mica and it has an MSRP just under $52,000. Underneath the hood, this is powered by a 3.5 liter V6 that's paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission, pumping out 302 horsepower, 267 pound-feet of torque. That power sent to the front wheels, propelling this 3,700 pound sedan from 0 to 60 in 6.5 seconds, up to its top speed of 131 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 15.9 gallons. You'll expect to see around 22 miles per gallon in the city, 31 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 113 inches. Its overall length is 195.9. It has a width of 72.4 and a height of 56.9 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling now for this ES 350, let's start off with the brush trim piece that surrounds the entire hourglass grille. Has a really nice design to it paired with this exterior blue. Now the Lexus badge is also the forward-facing sensor, which is nice to see, and there's plenty of cutouts in this grille to provide a lot of cooling to this engine. This also has LED headlights, DRLs, and turn signals, and pretty iconic for the Lexus brand is to have this very crisp point for the DRLs, and the housing is actually separated both in that right side there and on the side. So it's pretty neat to see that design for the headlight housing itself, and it just matches nicely with the rest of the body lines. Now the inlets on both sides are also functional, finished off in gloss black to match the grille. And there's very nice lines that come down the hood, meeting the points of the hourglass design. So they break off and then go down the rest of the hood just to tie it in very nicely. It is a large grille, but it flows nicely for the size of this sedan. Now as we work our way to the side, this has a set of 19-inch wheels. They are finished off in gloss black to continue that theme for this model. There's an F Sport badge along with the two-tone for the side mirrors, which also have the integrated turn signal. This has a sunroof. All of the window trim is chrome, which matches that small trim piece in the side mirrors. And then there's some nice subtle lines that run down the side, just giving it more of an elegant design from this luxury brand. Now as we finish up in the rear, this does have a trunk mounted spoiler, which is finished off in blue, has some really nice contoured lines to it, and as you can tell, there's some good indentions on both sides of it with the bodywork for that rear fender. There's also another trim accent that runs right through that power trunk. It matches the surround for the grille. This has LED taillights with a nice design for those housings. They are a little bit boxy on the exterior siding there, but they still have a great look to them. This has a backup camera, all the sensors, and then gloss black in the diffuser with the chrome surrounding the exhaust tip exits. So let's work our way to the cargo space, where I can use the button on the key fob or the hidden button that is located over on this far right side. Just by pushing on that, it will open up. And there's some items in the back right now, but this has a lot of space. The back seats do not recline or do not fold down, so this is the amount of space that you get for this model. There is, however, a small cutout right in the middle, so if you have some smaller and longer items, they can be placed through. This does have a spare tire underneath, so that gives you a little bit extra storage as well, even with that spare tire, but you have plenty of room to make this a great daily driver. Now the button on the left side will close it. There is a grab handle on that right side if you need to close it manually. As we work our way to the back seats now, you can lock and unlock it using the back door handles. And for the interior, paired with the exterior blue, we have the white leather, which is a perfect touch. There's black leather, some trim accents, some gloss black, and a little bit of storage in the lower section of the door. And then the white works its way to these back seats, where we have the two-tone design with the black leather as well. And at 5'10", hopping into the back, I have a decent amount of space with the front seat set at my height. There's also two storage pockets, air vents, and auxiliaries so you can charge electronics. And again, at my height, my head is just barely touching this headliner. So it is nice and comfortable to be in the back. I could have two other people next to me. For the size of this sedan, it is a little bit larger for your rear seat passenger, so it makes it that much more comfortable. Right in the middle, there is the armrest along with two cup holders, so you can use those as needed. And like I mentioned earlier, this is that cutout that gives you access into the trunk. And then as far as visibility goes, it's very easy to see around. That's a small pillar. so it definitely provides you with a lot of light. And the front door panel is finished off just like the rear. However, this has the memory seating adjustments, all of the window adjustments, side mirror adjustments too, which are power folding, and about the same amount of storage for that lower section. And then for these front seats, F Sport is embroidered in that headrest. These are heated and ventilated. Very nice two-tone design to them, and all of the automatic adjustments are down on the side, along with Lexus being an illuminating badge for that door sill. It's a low car, so it makes it easy to enter and exit, where we can now take a look at the solid and perforated leather steering wheel with the F Sport badge down below. On this right side, this is all the cruise and adaptive cruise control settings. There's mode and tuning for the radio, there's distance pacing, and the lane keeping assist. On this left side, there's volume along with Bluetooth and voice commands, and these arrows here will go through the gauge cluster. So in order to do that, let's fire this up. That engine start stop button is over on the right side, and we can bring this to life. As we look at the gauge cluster setup now, over on the left side is the engine temperature, on the right side is the fuel level, and front and center, the tach is surrounded with a nice trim piece, and within that tach, there's the miles per hour, what gear you're in, and some vital information just underneath that. So currently it's showing the current MPG along with an average. If I scroll down, there's also range and reset. Gear position will show you, of course, what gear you are in. There's the TPMS. You can change miles per hour to kilometers per hour if you need to. There's also a blank page, and then we are back to the rest of that info. Now you can also move the entire tach over to that right side just by pushing on the pages button on that left side. So now you can pull up a lot more information like an eco meter, there's the G-force meter, your gear position again, some of the other information that is provided within that middle screen, but you can go through your compass as well, pull up music, even go into your cruise control settings, there's any messages, and then all of the tech features that are available like your lane center, your sensitivity for all of that, even your parking sensors. You can adjust all of that as needed. So if you need to pull up a little bit more info, you can slide that to the right or bring it back if you want that front and center. This also has steering wheel mounted paddle shifters, which are finished off in a brushed silver, matches all the rest of the steering wheel accents. On this left side, there's the fuel cap release along with the trunk release and the hood release, and then a little bit of storage. Maybe you could place some coins or the key fob in there. There's one air vent just above that, and you'll notice there's a stalk on both sides of that cover for the gauge cluster. So by using the one on the left side, that will turn traction control off just by pushing on the end of the stalk. For this right side here, these are for the different driving modes. So if I twist this up, it will go into Sport S. If I twist it one more time, it goes into Sport S Plus. And if I twist it down, that is for Eco mode, and the end of the stock will put it back into the normal setting. So it's cool that you will see that tach adjust just depending on the mode that you are going in and how you would like to drive for the day. Now looking at the infotainment system, there's a clock on the left side, and then for the main system itself, there's shortcuts on the left side here where currently you can see where our navigation, I can get into music along with phone, and then under vehicle, you can go through some more of this, like all of your climate information, all of your trip information, things like that. And then various settings to go into to configure this as needed. Not really that tech savvy, but it does give you everything that you need to use this on a daily basis. Very simple, easy to go through. Two air vents are just underneath that. And then for all of these, this is for the climate adjustments. So there's the temperature dials for driver and passenger, fan speed, where you'd like the air to go, all of the defrosters, even the heated side mirrors. And underneath that, there are physical buttons and shortcuts to the radio and the media. So this upper dial is for power and volume, and then the one behind it is for tuning. So it's interesting how that is a dual button at the same location. Underneath that, there's all the heated and ventilated seat adjustments along with the heated steering wheel. There's a lot of settings, even auto settings that you can use for that. The electronic e-brake is tucked up underneath that engine start stop button. And then there's a little bit of storage space in front of two cup holders that you can see on the right side. On this left side here, if you open this up, there's a few auxiliaries so you can use those as needed. Now for the leather wrap shifter, if I put this into reverse, that backup camera will appear where there are guidelines. You can even change that angle slightly and change the guidelines depending on what you would like to see. Drive is going to be all the way to the back, and to the left is how you can use the shifter or these steering wheel mounted paddle shifters. Now behind that there is an auto hold feature as well as a wireless charging pad. Very nice to see that exposed. And then for the center armrest, you will notice that the white leather wraps around to the cup holders, which is a nice design. But this also opens up two ways. Your passenger can get access, or of course you can get access from the driver's seat, where there's even more auxiliaries and plenty of storage. Now on the glove box, plenty of room for that additional information, and there's more of that trim that wraps around the door panels there to give it a really nice design for that dash. Now this does have a sunroof. There's the manual adjusting sunshade. There's also the sunroof adjustments in the middle, as well as being able to open and close it. And then we have the touch sensitive dome lights on both sides. As we set off behind the wheel now for the 23 Lexus ES 350, this F-Sport has an MSRP just under $52,000, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video. And honestly, that is not really all that much for what you're getting from this vehicle. Now, the average price for a brand new vehicle today is right around 48 grand. So you're spending a little bit more than that average to get into a luxury brand like a Lexus. I've been around the platform a lot. I get to drive a lot of these Lexus models, and they're so comfortable and quiet, very smooth to drive. So if you want something that's luxurious, but not at that ultra luxury price point, this is a great model to get into. And we have the F-Sport, which gives it the wheels and a few other goodies, which is nice to see. I would like to see, however, for the F-Sport model, maybe to have a little bit more performance-oriented features. It does have the F-Sport suspension, maybe a little increase in power compared to some of the other, or a non-F-Sport version of this ES 350. So the F-Sport gives you a few performance-oriented characteristics, but nothing power related. So maybe at some point the F-Sport model can have a bump and increase. So that way, if you want the F-Sport model, you can get something a little bit more performance oriented. But aside from that, it is still a pretty cool sedan. We can go into the S Sport setting there. We'll go down to second gear. And it's not crazy fast, but the shifts are pretty smooth. So it's nice that you can use these paddles as needed. Not really that loud either. You really can't hear any of that exhaust. So like I mentioned earlier, you're getting a Lexus. You're getting more of a luxury style, smooth vehicle that you can daily drive and have no concerns with any of the noise, including that exhaust. And these seats are really comfortable too. I like the lateral support that they have to offer, and they're super comfortable. So you can drive this every single day, and I really don't see any issues with it. The only thing I will say is that Lexus is starting to incorporate the larger screen into some of their models. So hopefully we will see that updated soon for this model. And as we come around a turn, this is front wheel drive, but it took that well. Very low car, so it handles well. With that suspension, of course, it can take those turns a little bit quicker. And while we are in Sport S Plus from second gear, here we go. And it's not a super quick vehicle. If you want something a little bit more performance oriented, you can go with the IS 350 F Sport. Has a little bit more power from the same 3.5 liter V6. So this one is slightly detuned from the IS version. The ES is a larger vehicle. So while we still have the F Sport package for the sedan, it's a little bit more laid back, a little bit more luxury focused in a sense. It is a larger vehicle, so it's not quite as sporty as the IS 350, but it still handles well. It is so quiet though. It's very interesting to really hear the paddles more, a little bit of the engine noise, hardly any exhaust under a mild acceleration. But it's so comfortable, so quiet to drive. And for that $50,000 mark, it's really not that expensive, relatively speaking. With the average price of a new car being almost 50 grand today, I mean, a lot of people would be able to get into this and you're entering into a luxury brand with the Lexus name. So if you want something like this, it's not really gonna cost you that much. And I can see this being such a good daily driver with how comfortable it is, the amount of space that you do get, not a whole lot of technology from Lexus, or at least from this model. Hopefully the 24 model will have the newer screen. So it does eliminate that clock and it gives you a larger system to go through, a little bit more features. But if you're not someone who's looking for a ton of technology, this is a perfect option. I do love the tech that's offered. So if you want technology, but you want it to be simplified, this is a good option to go with. So you don't have a million different things to go through to distract you, or things that you may not even use. So I like the simplicity of it with what is offered for this model. And I think that is going to wrap it up for the latest model for the Lexus ES 350 F Sport. Once again, a huge shout out to Hendrick Lexus Northlake for providing this luxury style sedan for me today. Check out their website. Also give this video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.